Hi guys, how's it going? Ghostyloz here with another Shadowverse video. In this video I wanted to go over the Elana Haven deck. You've probably already come across this deck in one capacity. It's a very oppressive deck to face. You basically cheese wins against aggro decks because it combines a lot of healing while simultaneously buffing your board to get quite strong minions. So it's a deck that's very hated in the community at the moment, but it's also very powerful. The version that I'll be showing is actually the Seraph hybrid version, so this also contains Seraph tech to be a little bit more kind of degenerate and oppressive than the usual version. And I think this is the strongest version of the just the pure Elana deck. So I mean, with these kind of deck walkthroughs, my original plan was to do one for each class. So the only class that's missing at the moment is Shadowcraft. Shadowcraft is a little weak in the meta at the moment. I mean, there is a control version and there is an aggro version, but I mean they are slightly weaker than all of their counterparts at the moment. So I mean, I didn't really want to kind of spend the effort and the time crafting a Shadowcraft deck when it wouldn't actually be that strong. So I mean, I'm going to wait until the next expansion comes out, which hopefully should be coming out sometime next month, and then I'll do a Shadowcraft deck, hopefully, like a new, if there's anything that comes out of the new set that kind of makes it more powerful, I'll hopefully be able to get some of the cards and I'll be able to kind of go through a deck then. So for now, I mean, I wanted to do this deck because this is very strong in the meta at the moment. I've been playing it quite a lot. I mean, I have already been through Stormhaven, but I wanted to kind of do another Havencraft deck. So let's look at some of the cards in this deck. So I mean, this has got Sacred Plea. Pretty much all Havencraft decks will have this card. It's just something nice to play on turn 1. It gives you a lot of card draw. There's not really any downsides to playing this card. You always really want to play it. It creates a lot of value. It doesn't cost much. If you draw it your opening hand, it's perfect because you're not going to play anything else on turn 1 anyway. You can use it just to fill extra gaps in your mana, so very versatile, good card, gives you massive amounts of card draw. I mean, if you play a series of these and you manage to get them down, you can just explode with like 4 or 5 extra cards on turns, which is it brings you back into games. It's very strong. So I mean, Rabbit Healer, this is actually quite a weak card as it is, but I mean, as we'll see, this plays a lot of healing because the effect of Elana just allows you to kind of heal your board up and buff it. So I mean, we're playing 3 of these. This is just a cheap healing minion, basically. It also has the added effect, the added bonus that you can also restore 2 hit points to an ally, which means another minion, so you don't have to cast it on yourself. Obviously, if you don't cast it on yourself, you're not going to get the Elana effect, so don't make that mistake. Elana only works when you heal yourself, as we'll see, but you can do that just to give yourself a bit of extra flexibility. Hallowed Dogma, this is in pretty much every Haven deck again, very useful for rushing out your amulets. Also combines very well with Seraph, as we'll see, and allows you to choose out wins, and it also draws you a card, so you can use it to dig further in your deck. Blackened Scripture, another very popular card, banishes an enemy follower with 3 defense or less. Very, very strong card. This destroys Shadowcraft decks, because it destroys anything with last word effects. It's just very, very strong, very, very good. It's actually better than the 2 mana deal 2 damage cards, in my opinion, and they're in every deck, so this is very strong. You should put this in pretty much every Havencraft deck. I mean, the Stormcraft deck I ran didn't have this. I think that's maybe a mistake. I'd probably add this into Stormcraft decks as well. It's very strong. Monastic Holy Water, restore 2 defense to an ally, draw a card. So I mean, again, this isn't a great card in kind of a vacuum, but in this deck it's very strong, as we'll see. Beast Coloria, I mean, obviously very strong card, probably one of the strongest cards in Havencraft. You always want to play this, so not really much to say there. Healing Angel, stats are okay actually, and it restores 2 defense to your leader, so strong card, benefits well with Elana, as we'll see. Prison Priestess, put a random countdown amulet from your deck into your hand. It allows you to kind of search for Beast Call Aria, kind of search for Seraph, search for maybe some more card draw. It's just nice, sorry, to get these cards out of your deck. So it just allows you to kind of search for the cards that you want if you need them. Sledgehammer Exorcist. Very, very good controlling card. You use one of your evolution points to destroy a tricky enemy minion that you can't deal with, and it also allows you to attack into something else. So overall, very, very strong removal card. Healing Prayer, again, this is another one that's maybe weak in a vacuum, but it does so much in this deck. It restores 3 defense to your to an ally, but you'll most likely want to use it on your face. It activates Elana's and it subtracts 1 from the countdown of all allied amulets, so you can use it to cheese out Seraph, use it to get out Beast Call Aria to get card draw earlier. It's very versatile. It's generally quite weak, but in this deck it's very strong. So here we are, Elana's Prayer. This is the card that kind of makes this deck work, basically. So this is why we're playing so much healing in this deck. Whenever your leader's defense is restored, give 1/1 to all allied followers. So this effect can be quite hard to stop. It can be very oppressive. If you manage to play it on a full board, or you manage to just they can't kill your followers every turn, you can just snowball such an advantage by just keep playing healing minions. That allows this deck to kind of destroy aggro. I mean, aggro has a very hard time against this deck because you can generally out heal their aggro, but at the same time you're building up a huge board that they just can't deal with, so you don't really get any downside for playing all these kind of mediocre healing cards. It makes them extremely strong. So you always want to try and get this as soon as possible, and if you can drop this on turn 3, it's a very, very strong. It makes your deck very, very strong. So Priest of the Cudgel, very, very strong card. So I mean, we're actually only playing 2 of them in this deck. I mean, this is like I said, this is a power 4 card, so you evolve it on turn 4 if you go second. It has the same effect as Blackened Scripture, so you get that for free, and then you kind of get to mash him into something else. So he's just very good for kind of tempo plays, to control stuff. Just a useful card, but I mean, we've cut one of them just because other cards are more important in this deck. So we don't really need 3 of them, and he's not as good if you go first. So Radiance Angel, this is probably the best healing card. It restores 3 defense to your leader, and it also draws a card as well. So this would be good even if it didn't draw a card, I think. The fact that it draws a card makes it very, very good. So I mean, you play Elana's. Also, you can play multiple Elanas. So say if you've got 2 Elanas on the board, and you play this then becomes, rather than a 3/4, this becomes a 3/5. This becomes a 4/6 for 5 mana, and it heals your leader for 3 hit points, and it gives you a card. So I mean, generally this will be a 3/5 when you play it, which is actually not too bad for 5 mana. So it's quite hard to remove it. It'll stay around, and then you can just keep playing healing minions and buffing them up and make him a monster. Themis' Decree. This is another kind of complained about card. It's very, very unfair when they draw it. I mean, they could have a beautiful full board that they've kind of overcommitted, and you can just wipe it all out with Themis' Decree, and your amulets don't die. So I mean, Elana's will stay behind, Beast Call Aria will stay behind, Sacred Plea will stay behind, Enstatued Seraph will stay behind. So a good strategy is if you can afford it, or if you'd like to gamble a little bit, if you've got this in your hand, you can drop Enstatued Seraph. They'll try and punish you by kind of filling up the board and kind of destroying you on board, because you've basically spent 8 mana on 0 board presence, and then you can just wipe it all back out again with Themis' Decree. This card purely is the reason why you should never overcommit against Havencraft decks, because I mean, they can always bust this out and just kind of wreck your entire game plan pretty much in one card. And then finally we move on to Seraph. So this is why this is kind of a Elana hybrid Seraph deck. I mean, you can play Elana decks without Seraph. You can just go maybe tech in more Priest of the Cudgel, maybe tech in just different, like more healing cards, just something else, like maybe Lucifer or something like that. That's another popular one to tech in. But I really like Seraph. I mean, you can cheese so many wins with this card. It's just insane. I mean, I'd say at least a third of my games have just been cheesed wins with this card. If you can get it off on turn 8 without being punished, it's very unlikely that they'll remove it. I mean, this is the reason why people are teching in Odin into a lot of their decks, because Odin's one of the only reliable ways to deal with this card. Most people don't run Amulet Hate. So I mean, this card will just run riot. It feels very unfair to play against, because there's just no way to interact with it. I mean, you can play a pure Seraph deck, but I mean, I don't think that's anywhere near as strong as like a hybrid Elana's deck. I think this is the strongest version of the deck, and I think this is definitely worth including, because it just wins you so many games that you shouldn't win. I mean, you can play this, and then quite often you'll have something in your hand like Hallowed Dogma or Healing Prayer, and then you can just win on the next turn if they don't win. If not, if you've got Themis' Decree, you can just stall out each turn until you win. It's just very oppressive to play against. So I'd highly recommend you trying out this deck. I'm going to put a link in the description to the deck list. So I mean, I'm gonna show a gameplay video now. Me playing this deck. I hope you enjoy.